Yeah, so people never think about the aging of their parents, about emergencies, or about death until it impacts you. And at that point, it's often too late. So, one of the things I think is really important, and I'll tell you how I got there, is that you prepare your wishes and information and create an area where that is accessible by your loved ones if something should happen to you.
What do you mean
So,
wishes and information? Like your wishes for what you want, where you
anything,
wanna be
yeah, like it.
buried,
You
or just
know, do
any
you and anything from, do you wanna be kept alive? Do you wanna have a do not resuscitate,
okay.
you know, scenario, or do you wanna be kept alive? Do you wanna be buried or cremated? What do you wanna have happen to your money? Who are your beneficiaries? Where can you find the key to the safe deposit box? Where did you put your Bitcoin, key code? All those
Wallet, yeah.
kinds of things. I mean, what kind of bills need to be shut down? Like,
Is this
where
on paper or is it stored somewhere?
so I have two different form factors. So it's called futurefile, futurefile.com. And we have two form factors. We have a kit, which basically comes with, and I don't think I have show and tell here, but it comes with a workbook, and it comes with an instruction manual, and it comes with a filing folder. So you can actually fill it out by hand and put things in the filing folder. And we also have a Windows based software where you can type everything, and then when you're done, you can either, put it in Dropbox, you can print out a copy and put it in a folder with other things. The instructions walk you through your different options, because some people trust their loved ones and some people don't trust their loved ones, but still need to make it accessible. So there's different ways you can handle it. But basically, this came about because I think we've talked about this on previous podcasts, but I've had a lot of death in my life.
Yeah.
I lost a boyfriend in my senior year of college in a car accident. My mom passed away shortly after that from leukemia, the day after her 51st birthday. And then my stepmother passed away from lung cancer at 55. And so, we kind of went through all of these things, but my dad handled everything. And so my dad decided that if something were to happen to him, my sister and I wouldn't know what to do, where to find anything, like what's the next step, because particularly you're in a panic at that point in time.
Yeah.
So he made us get this folder, and he would just like hand us stuff and put it in the file, put it in the file. And we kept calling it the death file, like as a joke. And then in 2013, May, my actually, we're almost on the anniversary here as we're talking. My sister called me and said, Dad's been in a freak accident. I need you to get to the hospital and bring the file. And so the first thing that had happened, he was on blood thinners, and I guess he had just tapped his head getting into the car, bleeding on the brain, and had passed out in the car. And they found him like several hours later. So
Oh, wow.
when we got to the hospital, they said, "Do you know what medicines your dad's taking?" And I said, "Hold on." "Yeah, he's
Wow.
taking this, this, and this." "Do you know who his doctor is?" Hold on. "Yeah, his doctor's that," all these things. And then we had to make a decision for him to have surgery. And he had brain surgery, and it didn't do anything. And he was basically brain dead, but being kept alive by machines. And they said, "Do you want to take him off of life support?" And in going through putting this file, not even joking, we had this conversation, and the conversation went like this: "Hey, Dad, if this were to happen to you, what do you want?" "I want to be kept alive forever." "Okay, seriously?" "You decide." "No, that is not an option. I don't want to make this decision." So he was thoughtful about it. And then he said, "Okay, here's what I want to do. I want you to get two opinions. And if both of them say there's no chance that I will recover, my brain usage, then I want you to pull the plug." I said, "Okay." And we ended up in that exact scenario. And when I
Wow.
tell you, the biggest thing that this exercise did was not have my sister and I walk around with the burden of, did I make the right decision?
Right.
Because I know I followed his wishes in that particular scenario. And then in terms of the time, for me, time is like such a huge thing. I mean, hundreds of hours that I was saved, because my dad was a hoarder, and everything was, I mean, not a real hoarder, but like a borderline, and everything was a mess. So trying to find everything. And then it saved us more than $10,000, because, by the way, dying's super expensive if you want to be buried and have all of the different things. And he's like, "I don't want the Cadillac of caskets. I just want this. Don't do a this," and all these things.
Wow.
So when we told people about it, they're like, "We need to do this." And so we took what my dad had created and we ended up creating this product. It's only $99, $99.99. It's a one-time fee. We didn't want to make it software as a service. If you do the software, it lives on your computer, not in the cloud. If you have the kit, you can hold on to it. I liked the kit because I like to have something to grab, and I didn't want to have to be futzing with my phone, but some people prefer the online thing, and that's fine. You have the choice.
I would just
But
be worried about all that information online.
Right.
Anyway,
So
yeah, it's
yeah.
just like, no matter how protected these things are.
You can split it. One of the things that we do, like in our kit, is that we say you can find this thing online here, and here's the password and
Right.
whatnot. But it's like, you kind of flip the pages. And what's nice is it tells you what to do. Like if you're in an emergency, you go here. If, you have an aging issue, you go here. If someone passes, you go here. And it just makes you get all of your affairs in order. And we don't take the place of any specific thing. Like there's no will in there, but it tells you that you need to go get a will. It
Right.
tells you what to the person, and then it tells you to file it, because if you have a will and no one can find it, which happened, by the way, to Aretha Franklin and ended up in the courts for like 5 years, that doesn't do you any good either. So you
Right.
want the people to find your information. You want them to know who they can call. And it's just a really critically important thing that we do. Is really a mission-based business, just to make sure people are prepared. So that's at futurefile.com. But even if you don't want to get it, you should still get your stuff together and put it in a place that somebody can access in the case of an emergency or a passing.
Are you dealing with an HMO like I am? It's such a pain in the butt. If I want to get any sort of testing done to ensure I'm making my health a priority, I have to wait weeks for an appointment to see my doctor, then get a referral from her, and wait weeks more for an appointment with the specialist I needed to see just to get some lab work. Quest simplifies this process. I can purchase my own lab tests online and test for a multitude of health issues I might be concerned about, then take those results to my doctor better armed with the information I need. At questhealth.com, you can get hundreds of tests across several different categories, from allergies to heart health, hormones, sexual health, women's health tests for egg quantity, perimenopause, menopause, men's health tests for testosterone, prostate, and so much more. These are lab quality tests, the same ones you'd be given at your doctor's office. So prioritize your health and visit questhealth.com today. Use the code Phetasy to get 25% off and find answers to the multitude of health questions you may have. That's questhealth.com and use the code Phetasy for 25% off.